Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Thursday, so we're here with Happy Healthy Habits with Robin and Shimizu and friends. And Robin, we're so glad to see you. I want to give a shout out to Francine Gregory, my partner and real estate developer. Look, I made her a developer.
I had that.
Realtor and tech diva, and she's on location today. So we just want to say, hey, Fran, how you doing? I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. And we have Robin in the house today. How you doing today, Robin?
Just fine. Just loving this beautiful weather that we're having in Sacramento.
Well,
It's
Cecilia's here too. Cecilia says hi to you.
hello. Yeah, so today we're I guess we're going to talk about sitting with Linus Mullins Woods, and I guess the only thing that I have in terms of a healthy habit today is just to remind people that there are things that they could do very easily and unobtrusively, like what I do, because I've been doing a lot of Zooming and a lot of computer work, is I sit on my exercise ball. So I sit on my exercise ball while I'm in front of the computer, and I just kind of have it set up just perfectly so I can sit on my exercise ball all day long if I want to. And
Wow.
it really has been, I think, helpful in terms of my balance and core work and things like that. So there are little things we could do while we're sitting. And Linus is going to teach us a little bit more about how to stay healthy while we're sitting a lot at home and sheltered in.
Okay. Well, you want to tell us a
So,
little bit about Linus and her background?
yes, sure. Okay, so Linus Woods Mullins is a holistic wellness coach. She's an expert for women over the age of 40. She has a e-magazine. She's an author, a speaker, a mentor, a spiritual leader. She helps women in every way, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And she's so knowledgeable about how to keep ourselves healthy in a very holistic way. So with that, let's bring on Linus and welcome our guest. She gets to be with us today, and we get to have her about once a month. Hey, Linus.
Good morning, Linus. Can she hear us?
Hey,
She's
Robin.
there.
Hi,
She is.
Miss Chicks, for having me on again. It's wonderful. There I am. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We had a little lag there. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, we have a little bit. Okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me back.
Mhm. Well, we're glad to have you here, Linus, and we're going to let you talk to us about your subject. And I'm going to put your subject up here. Hold on. Your subject today
Okay.
is. That's right. Did I get that
There
right?
we
10 scary that can happen from sitting too long on a regular basis.
Yikes.
Okay, there we go. I know.
Yikes. Yeah. Well, this really, the whole thing about sitting too long is really not anything new. This has always been a danger, but more and more people are talking about it now because it's becoming an issue. And the reason is because of our current COVID crisis and the fact that so many families are sitting at home more often. If you think about it, if you happen to be from home, you no longer have to get up in the morning, get dressed, walk to your car, drive, then walk to your place of business and maybe walk for lunch, walking to meetings and then going home and walking and doing errands and all that kind of stuff. You'd be surprised how many steps you do in an average day without even thinking about it. Well, all that's been cut off if you are sheltering in place or working from home. The other thing is that, on the weekends, maybe, or even in the evenings, you want to walk to your favorite restaurant or maybe go to the mall and browse or whatever. Well, in a lot of cities, the malls are closed or stores are closed. Restaurants, in many cases, are closed. And so that tells that you're just not doing it any longer. And that's that's less steps that you're walking. You just think about it. When you go to a grocery store or when you go to a store to buy clothes, you're browsing, you're looking, you're pushing the cart, you're doing all these different things that involve movement. And you're doing them pretty much on a regular basis because usually because of our full lives, we always have something to do after work or on the weekends. Well, now, even though we might have to do those things still, we're not walking to do them. We're online and our exercise is with our finger and our phone, and then there's our exercise to push it, and then we order it, and then our next exercise is to walk to our front door and get whatever it is that's been delivered. That's not quite as many steps as it would be if we went to the grocery store, to the mall, and shopped and looked and browsed and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
So as a result, steps being cut down and less, the sitting becomes more of a danger. And there are a lot of things that can happen, but I'm going to go over the top 10 that the doctors really worry about. First of all, if you don't use them, you will lose them. And I'm talking about your legs and your glutes. By sitting all day, you're not depending on your powerful lower body muscles to hold you up. And so as a result, your muscles begin to atrophy. And you're thinking, oh, no, that's not happening because I do a little walking here and there. But you really have to make a conscious effort to make sure you're walking every day. The rule of thumb is to exercise at least 30 minutes a day. And part of that should be walking because your body needs to move and your muscles need to be worked so that they don't atrophy. So that's the first thing that you want to think about. The other thing isn't obvious, but I'll tell you why it's serious. Weight gain, of course. Moving causes your muscles to release molecules that really help you process fats and sugars. If you're not moving, then it takes long to process those sugars. And most likely what happens is you have a greater risk of metabolic syndrome. And basically, metabolic syndrome means that your metabolism just isn't working the way it used to. And you begin to get thicker and gain weight in areas that you maybe had not gained weight before. I know it certainly happened to me. I call it COVID pounds. I picked up 10 COVID pounds since June. And I'm sorry, not since June, thank God, since January. So I am actively working on that. In the last 3 weeks, I've really put myself on a more of a even more stringent workout routine. Because here's the scary thing for me. I was still walking almost every day, still lifting weights, still working out. But for me, it was the emotional eating that caught up to me, which should not have been a big deal. But because I am still sitting more, no matter how much I work out, I'm still sitting more. And as a result, my metabolism slowed down. So I had to cut all that stuff out. And I'm glad to report I've lost an inch or two. But hopefully you're going to start seeing a smaller Linus over the next few months.
I hear
shrinking a little bit. But you want to be careful about that weight gain, especially in the stomach area, in the middle, which is the most dangerous place for you to store fat. Fat stores toxins, and you don't want to have a lot of fat for toxins to rest, especially now since everybody is concerned about their immune system. One way to make sure that your immune system is operating at optimum is to make sure that you keep your weight within a healthy range and don't let it rest in the middle. For women in particular, if your waist is more than 35 inches and you know that you're obese, you can't ignore that. It's not so much about what you're looking like. It's about what your health is like. That's what's important. And I know you may think I'm fine with it. I'm not talking about body image issues. I'm talking about health issues. Now, the doctor says you're fine and everything else, and you have a 50-inch waist. Well, fine, but I would venture to say that if your waist is 50 inches, something's going on, and you might want to consult and get another opinion. Another thing that happens, you're sitting all the time, is that you begin to get tight hips. Bad backs, pain in the back and stiffness in hips. And your hip flexors begin to shorten. And when your hip flexors begin to shorten, that's when you begin to get into some trouble with the need for a hip replacement. So you want to make sure that if you are sitting for any period of time, that you're sitting up. Okay, like I am, you're sitting up. You want to make sure that your back has some support at some point, but you don't want to be slouched down like this. That is so bad for your back. In fact, it hurts my back to do that. I have a tendency to sit up a lot, which the bad side for me is I don't always count on my back support. And then, I have other issues. So I do sit up, but one of the things I do for my hips and my back is I make sure that I get up and I stretch. In fact, it's funny, right before we started, I was doing some push-ups right before we came on, because I don't like to just sit and wait while I'm waiting to do these webinars or the interviews that I do that are all online, all sitting down. So I'm waiting for my host to come on. I'll get on maybe 10 minutes early and work out for 10 minutes. If I have 3 interviews a day, which is about right, then that's 30 minutes worth of workout, believe it or not. You can get up. So just and just be careful about the tight hips and the bad back. That can really be a symptom of as a result of sitting too much. Another thing that can happen is anxiety and depression. Lesser understood about the physical impact of sitting, but studies have shown that there are mental effects. And those mental effects are usually depression and anxiety. They're higher among people who sit a lot. Now, part of the problem could be they're not doing regular exercise. So those endorphins and hormones, those happy hormones aren't circulating. If they're sitting a lot, more than likely, they're not sitting in the sunshine. They're not getting out and getting fresh air. And I do understand there's some people who don't want to go out because of what's happening with the COVID virus. And there's different kinds of studies all over the place about whether or not, if it's airborne and so on and so forth. But they have said that if you're social distancing and you're protecting yourself with a mask and you're, feeling comfortable about getting outside, you should be okay walking outside. But if you still are feeling like you don't want to walk outside, at least get out. And we've talked about this before. Walk around your front yard, in your backyard. But I really encourage you to take a walk. I walk every day, and so do my neighbors now because they're aware. My neighbors are older. I don't really live in a retirement community, but at the time when people bought their homes, they were in their, late 30s or 40s, and they've been here 25, 30 years, so they're older now. And but I see them out walking because they're trying to slow down the aging process by moving. And sometimes it's kind of like a traffic jam now. I didn't see all these people walking before, but now we're all out there walking and social distancing. But it feels good to get out there, fresh air, getting fresh blood and oxygen to your joints, which you definitely need if you're going to be sitting a lot. You want to have good blood going through your oxygen and joints to keep them lubricated and to nourish your organs. So get out and walk, get fresh oxygen. Also, there has been shown a higher risk of cancer if you are in a prolonged sitting situation. Then those cancers could be things like uterine cancer, colon cancer, also some lung cancer. There seems to be an increased risk of getting that kind of cancer by sitting too long. Heart disease is something else that's very common. One study found that men who spent 23 hours per week watching television have a 64% more of an increase to die from cardiovascular disease, believe it or not. So especially yes. Unbelievable that these 23 hours per week, hours, and you think, oh, well, I don't do 23 hours per week, but think about it. We have 7 days in a week. That means 3 to 4 hours of television. Before you know it, you've up to 28 hours a week. So you want to watch that. Experts say that people who sit more than 147% are at higher risk of suffering from a heart attack or a stroke. So all the more reason to get up. And here's something that I like to do because I work from home and I'm sitting a large majority of the time. I use my alarm or my Tabata to let me know when 20 minutes have gone by. And I get up and I walk around the house, I go outside, I do a yoga pose, something to move. Stretching is very important. So, if you're somebody who's sitting a lot because you're working from home or you're binge watching something, binge watching is a great opportunity to exercise. I do that all the time. I get my weights and I, do my weights, or I do sit-ups, or I do push-ups, or I do stretches or something instead of just sitting there watching, because after a long period of time, you sit back into the chair, you're getting more concave, you're relaxed, your muscles are all relaxed. The next thing you know, you're not doing yourself any favors. So if you're going to do a binge watch, I do binge watches, and, just work out, bring your ball, sit on your ball for a while, move around instead of just getting all concave and basically making the couch a part of your body. You also want to watch with the idea of diabetes risk. That's something that's very common. People who spend more time sitting also have about 112% risk of diabetes. In one study, that it looks like the effects of just 5 days of bed rest, just 5 days, could insulin resistance, which is the precursor to diabetes. So if you happen to have someone who has been sick and hasn't been feeling well, and they've been in the bed for that long period of time, if you can just get them to get up and walk around a little bit, that's better than just staying in bed the whole time. Some people who have the COVID virus talk about how exhausted they feel, how tired they feel, and they sleep a lot, which, the body is fighting off that virus, is doing its best to fight it off. But also what can really help is if you can at least get up and walk around the house for a little while. And then if you still, and I know it's exhausting if you have the virus, but at least you're moving a little bit. The other thing is varicose veins, which is very common around older people, especially women. And varicose veins, or some people call them spider veins, can lead to what's kind of like a blood pool in your legs. And generally, they're not harmful by themselves, but in rare cases, they can lead to serious conditions like blood clots. And you don't want blood clots in your legs because they can travel up, and next thing you know, you have one in your lung. So one way to prevent that situation is to be careful of getting too many varicose veins and moving and not just sitting. The other one is deep vein thrombosis. Now, deep vein thrombosis is a type of blood clot that is most common in the legs. And when part of this clot breaks off, it can cut off the flow of blood to other parts of the body, such as your lungs, and cause a pulmonary embolism.
Oh my
Now,
God.
this is a medical emergency that can lead to major complications or even death. So sitting for too long, even on a long road trip, can cause DVT. And I can tell you a story with my husband. He doesn't have thrombosis, but I think maybe 3 summers ago or so, he was doing Uber just to save money for a vacation. And what ended up happening was that he had a heart event. Not enough blood was getting up to his heart, and it was causing his valve to malfunction. Come to find out, it was maybe a blessing in disguise. We found out that he had something congenital going on with his heart, and so now he's on medication because the valve is not working properly all the time. But what happened was, as a result of driving for long periods of time and not getting up and stretching, or even if he was getting up and stretching, just doing that on a regular basis every day caused an event, and had to do with that blood clot. So it's really important, if you are doing Uber driving, things like that, that you have a very good, rigorous workout program, not just walking, but things that involve interval burst of working out. Like one of the things I love to do, and I look crazy, but I do it, is I run in place. I just run in place for as long as I can, just for work. I do it, outside of the pool and inside of the pool. In fact, if you happen to have a pool or access to a pool, the normal workout in the pool gives you twice the benefit in terms of strengthening your core, strengthening your arms, getting blood flow to your heart, and basically just getting in shape. It's great resistance, and it also is not as impactful to the joints as it would be if you're just doing some of these exercises on solid ground. It's low impact on the joints. So for people who are older, you have bad knees or hips or whatever, consider water exercise. There's some great routines that you could do that are on YouTube. And talk with your doctor if you're under a doctor's care to make sure it's okay with him if you do have issues with knees and hips. But it can be very good. In fact, it can even be therapeutic. It's a way of getting things stronger without having to hurt yourself. And one other thing about sitting for long periods of time, and that is stiff shoulders and neck, which I definitely do get from time to time, because you have a tendency to be hunched over your computer or just sitting for a long period of time. So you want to make sure that you are rolling your neck carefully from time to time. Be careful because as you roll your neck, if you've been sitting for a long period of time, you're going to hear some creaks and things like that. And that just lets you know that your blood flow needs to get going to your shoulders and to your neck. It's a good idea to roll your neck and to stretch your arms and do the things you need to do while you're sitting, and then get up and do it as well. Bottom line is sitting can be hazardous to your health, and you want to make sure that you take the time to move, to exercise, do some interval movement or getting your blood flowing, and do it on a daily basis, at least 30 minutes a day, every day, and just be aware. Sometimes when we have these talks, just raising the awareness is enough. The next thing, and then you put your goals sheet to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and not taking your health.
Wow.
So Terry walks every morning before even the sun is up.
Yes.
And so she gets her walk in, a pretty long walk, huh, Terry?
I do 3 miles at least. That's the least I'll do. And it takes about 90 minutes because I just stroll. I'm not trying to, do P90X or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing I found is if I do it the first thing in the morning, then it gets done. If my day gets started, I tend not to do it. But now that you have said all these things about doing it, I'm like, I am definitely going to set my alarm, because I kept telling myself, oh, you set your alarm, and then you know what I mean? Because there's no one in the house with me, so I tend to have either the TV going or something talking to me all the time. And I could get up and do some exercise doing all those commercials or whatever. You know what I mean? To remind me to get up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You probably be have more energy when you exercise. You absolutely do. I find that I walk early in the morning too. When I first wake up early in the morning, I'm foggy and I don't want to walk. But once I start walking, after that first 5 minutes, I have more energy. And that really does help a lot with your focus and clarity. I wish I could walk 3 miles a day, but I just don't have the time for 90 minutes. So what I try to do is to make sure that I do the walking, I do yoga, and I do swimming, and I lift weights to make up for not, walking for as long, but at least once or twice I walk, at least 5-6 miles, and at least once or twice a week to try to just walk a little longer. But the whole idea, I know not everybody's, working out for a marathon or for a bodybuilding competition, anything like that. We're just, I'm encouraging people to move for their health, just to make sure that you're moving your body. Because as I say all the time, we were not created, we're supposed to move our joints and, do things to keep ourselves flexible and limber and not stiff. So stretching, is really important, especially if you can do a straddle stretch or side stretches, where you're, stretching to the side or stretching to the front, knees, fingers to the toes or palms to the ground, that kind of thing. All of those things are really important in terms of making sure the blood flow is going and that you're getting your oxygen.
Now, we have quite a few people in the audience I know who exercise. Like Jill is into yoga. We know that because she's an instructor. And then we have Lakeisha.
Where'd Terry go?
We lost her. I don't know. That's what happened to me yesterday or the other day on Facebook Live. I was doing a thing on essential oils, and I have about 20 people on, and I have 5 people in the Zoom room or whatever, and it just stopped.
Just how weird. It kicks me out of the studio. I don't know what I moused over, but
the internet guys are tired of everybody talking about stuff.
Yeah. So I was saying that I wonder what they do to keep moving. Lakeisha and Claudia and Cecilia, what are you guys doing? And the people who are watching, what do you guys do? Is there something you're doing to make sure that you get some movement in? because I told you I experienced my shoulders locking. Well, I could not get my hands over my head after the first month of this whole situation. And I actually had to call a therapist and start doing some exercises because I couldn't comb my hair because I couldn't get my hands up there. I mean, the little things you take for granted. And so, and I know it was because I wasn't driving.
Did she tell you what caused that?
I know what caused it. I sat down on the couch and thought it was going to be over. And I wasn't driving every day, which would have required me to do this. You know what I'm saying? So my range of motion. And so we had to go through the whole thing. And fortunately, I do have access to a pool. So that helped a lot. Like you said, Linus, being able to get in there and you for resistance. Because otherwise it was extremely painful coming back. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know what caused it, but I know who healed me.
Yes. Those frozen shoulders I heard was very common for women.
Is it?
About our age. We get
there was another thing I wanted to tell you.
What's that, Linus?
She's delayed. Let's see.
Oh, I was just going to say that not sitting a lot. Okay, sitting a lot can lead to a slower brain function and even dementia.
Oh my goodness!
So for those of us who are older, and I'm older, I'm 63. We're motivated, even more to well, the good blood flow to the muscles, including the brain. This helps with clearer thinking. You're nourishing your brain. If you're sitting a lot, you're not nourishing your brain. And over time, especially if you have a propensity for it, it's in your family history or what, dementia can set in. So you definitely want to keep active.
Okay.
That's a real scary possibility.
Well, that's an incentive. Let's put it this way. That's an incentive to get up off the couch, right, Robin?
Yeah.
We're out of here.
You know, it's funny. I was in this.
Definitely incentivizes me.
Yeah, the brain thing it's got, everybody's very concerned about keeping their brain healthy. That's the number one thing for me anyway.
Exactly. Because we want to know.
Definitely incentive for me.
What's that?
We want to know who we are and where we are. Oh my goodness.
We've got some real issues here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
The thing that was amazing to me is Linus's laundry list, and we need to put that laundry list up in the chat. The 10 things about the 10 scary effects of sitting too long. The whole thing about the risk of cancer and the heart disease and diabetes from sitting. So it's like, okay, yeah.
The 10 scary effects. The whole thing about the risk of
She's really
not moving really does open yourself up to more possibilities of chronic disease or symptoms. Causation can be grounded. Giving you prescriptions for blood pressure, cholesterol, all this stuff. You take enough movement and you can change a lot of those things. And there's always a possibility you can get off that medication by changing some lifestyle, even when you don't want to do it.
Yes, even when we don't want to do it. Well, here's the thing, Linus, what do you have coming up? And if you will put your contact information.
Well, I have the.
Well, we're having connectivity issues. I can't.
Okay, I'm trying to put.
Yeah, we can't hear you right now. But
real. Well, you can.
If you could put this in the chat, We will
It's
post it.
okay.
Okay. And so in the meantime, while she's putting that in the chat, we want to encourage you to follow Robin on Facebook and to follow Lennis on Facebook. At, I think it's Wellness Women.
40. Yeah. And I'll put that in the chat.
And
also.
we're going to put that in the chat. So if you're not already following Lennis, you need to do
Yeah.
it. And evidently she's got several, she's always got something coming.
Yes, she does. And the other thing you could do, if all else fails, just Google Lennis and she will pop up. Her Facebook will pop up, her websites will pop
I
up.
see it over here in the private chat.
A lot of things.
So I am posting her Wellness Over 40 group. Hold on. In the chat right now as we speak, because she's been kind enough to share that with us. And let me get it over here in the comments, ladies. You know, we love Lennis. And we want, you know, the other thing I want to encourage you to do is to, Lennis, I'm going to ask you to go out and come back in and see if that helps, is to make sure that you look into this. Lakeisha says, oh, we did have some responses. I asked them, what do they do? And Lakeisha says, I walk about 20 miles a week, 4 per day, and swim, but it's just maintaining me. But I want to release weight, so working on that. I love the way that's framed, because that's a phrase that Lennis often uses, releasing the weight. Mm-hmm. And then up here, it looks like breathing space. Jill says, I walk too because it's easiest and always available. The sunshine has been helpful. I do practice yoga too, but she's gotten lazy. She says, well, don't get lazy because we're dependent on you, Jill. And okay. We're going to, Liz is asking us to please listen to our podcast. And I'm going to put this in the chat. Just a moment so you can find her podcast. Very good. You know, we're excited at Bitch Chicks about podcasts. We can set you up with a podcast. If you're looking to podcast, we can help you with that. So be aware of that. Lennis, we love you. I am so sorry about your connection. Let's see if we can hear you now. Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Real quickly about the workout. It's wonderful that she's doing 20 miles a week and swimming. That's fantastic. But when you hit a plateau and you're not dropping the pounds the way you feel you should be because you're moving all the time, that's your body telling you that you need to switch it up and maybe do something else different. Maybe taking a dance class or doing yoga if you don't do that, or maybe you want to lift weights, or maybe you want to jump rope or go skating, or whatever other movement. You just want to shift it up a little bit, because the body does get used to doing that kind of thing, and you'll hit a plateau. But if you can differentiate it, and maybe you do that in addition to some other things, or maybe you just drop that for a minute and do some other stuff, and that will move you past your plateau. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, of course, the bottom line about releasing any kind of weight, I mean, this is the bottom line. It's all about what you put in your mouth. It really is. Mm-hmm. Exercise fine-tunes you, helps you drop inches, which is great, because sometimes all you need is inches, not necessarily pounds, because as we get older, we get thicker. I had to let go of the idea that I'm going to be a size 6 or 63. I'm a size 8. That's the harsh reality, and that's what I have to deal with. Trying to get to size 6 would probably kill me. Okay, so that's it. But I still have to watch what I eat. Even saying it's size 8, it's not like, okay, no, I'm a size 8, so I'm just going to go ahead and eat some, ice cream and tortilla chips, which I have done during this COVID, and I've paid the price. So, because your metabolism changes, your chemistry changes, and you have to change with it. So exercise is fantastic, but if you are concerned about why you're hitting a plateau, movement is one thing, the kind of movement you're doing, but also take a look at what you're putting in your mouth. I know it seems like, of course, I watch what I eat, and most people do. But if you're still eating like you were when you were like 30, probably not the best idea. Gotta maybe make some changes. So that's just for everybody in general. I have the same issue as well.
All right. Well, we want to thank you so much, Linus. We posted everything in the chat about your podcast and regarding YouTube. And so we want everybody to connect with you. Also, we want to remind everybody that if you are looking to join Biz Chicks, you can text Biz to 33777 and become a part of this wonderful community. We look forward to seeing you every morning. And we just want to thank
you.
What happened?
I'm sorry, I just got some very bad. I just found a dear friend of mine just passed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
So I'm going to have to go. All right, God bless everybody, and I'll see you next time, okay?
All right. Thank you so much,
sweetie.
Linus.
Bye-bye,
Take care.
Linus. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
Oh,
that.
my goodness.
There is so much going on. And so all the more reason for us to stay connected.
Yes.
Know that the people here love you. We care about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we look forward to conversations with you every morning. Reach out to Linus and let her know, guys, that you care, okay?
Yeah.
In the meantime, I want to say to Robin, thank you so much. You always have such great guests. My question is, do you have something else coming up for us that we need to know about?
Well, next week we have Erin Sum as our guest. She's our confidence coach. So she'll be teaching us about how, as entrepreneurs, we can gain more confidence to do better work and to fulfill more of your dreams. So that'll be fun to see Erin. We haven't seen her for a while. And then we get to have Jill the week after that. So
okay.
Yay. Yeah.
So
we've got a lot of good guests coming up for the month of August. I can't believe it's August already.
It's August already.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love this weather. So I've got to get out there and start enjoying this weather before it goes away.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad to see you still on your ball. I'm going to put some more air in mine and start sitting on it. Like I said, I was going to do 2 weeks ago when you showed me this.
Just pull it out and make it sit there right in front of the TV and just sit on it when you're in front of the TV.
Oh, no. We got a comment real quick. I'm going to share this and then we got to go, guys, because, we don't like to hold you more than 30 minutes. Let's see. But Keisha says something.
Oh, okay.
I have a facial hydration class tomorrow. Girl, you got to put a link in here so we can come. Okay.
Is it going to be? So it'll be virtual, huh, Lakeisha?
Oh, yeah.
That's so awesome.
It's going to be virtual.
I'll see if I can come. It's on a Friday.
Yes. Send us the information. Okay. Put it in the Biz Chicks group too.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to know more about how to take care of our skin with all that's going on. We're trying to get outside more. And so, yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. I'm not going down that road.
Thank you, Terry.
We want to say thank you so much, Robin. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in and letting us know how you're keeping it moving during all of these wonderful seasons. In the meantime, don't forget to go to the front of your own line. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking tech in English. Bye-bye.